some insights for you today. Let's have a look. Hey, love, lend me wings. I feel as though at the moment the energy is saying that there's a lot of insecurities in the air, and it's a time for unconditional self-love. I would say that this is giving me the vibe of kind of feeling a little bit vulnerable. So maybe you're in a vulnerable position where there's something that you want deeply, whether it be a goal, like a career aspiration or a relationship, long-term commitment, something that you wish to aim for. I feel like it's making you feel really vulnerable during this time. Perhaps you don't really know what steps to take next, or you started taking baby steps and it just doesn't feel like the right direction. I get this sense of it just bringing forward the insecurities around this. Now, the energy with this is like, hey, it's pointing out how much this means to you. So in many ways, it's saying, be strong, have faith, and carry on, because it means a lot to you. When something means a lot to us, we can either hinder ourselves or we can push ourselves forward, and that is our choice to use that energy. A lot of the times we allow the insecurities to distract us and deter us, and make different choices. So it's a time to really nurture the self and understand why you are feeling the way that you are feeling. The Falcon's flight, it is definitely time to use those vulnerabilities as an asset, understanding that our shadow side is actually a part of who we are, and it's there to help us, not hinder us. Yes, sometimes it can prevent us from doing something, but it's about realizing in those moments, like trusting the gut, trusting your instincts. Like a falcon is something that can see with precision, like really long distances, and can again aim for its target from long distances, at high speeds. Like, it's precision, it's about keeping its focus on what it desires and going for it. And this is what I feel, it's about really understanding what is an instinct and what's a protection. I feel as though at the moment, but we've kind of grown these, it's kind of like I can't think of the word that I'm trying to find. Like a shield. Okay, from the past, we have learned these behaviors. This is what I'm trying to say. We have learned these behaviors that have basically protected us in the past. We've used them to stop ourselves from hurting, to go through this healing period. So maybe, for example, we've shut ourselves away. So anytime that we felt a little bit anxious, we will just listen to that and trust that, and it's helped us to heal and get into a better space. But now these have become bad habits. So now these things are stopping us and preventing us. So I think now it's differentiating between what is a protection and what is just something that is a bad habit, and us listening to it, because again, it has protected us in the past. I feel like you don't need protection during this time. I feel like you need to be realizing that you have to overcome things now in order to get back into life. It's like that kind of vibe. So again, I feel like, yes, it might be making you feel vulnerable and unsure and kind of not knowing where to go, because again, if you have been kind of shutting yourself off from really putting yourself out there, it's gonna feel kind of scary getting back into it. Sorry that every time I bounce, I'm on my bed and every time I move it bounces. Follow darkness like a dream. Yeah, follow those shadows. So when I say follow the shadows, no, don't follow them and listen. It's like they will lead you towards an understanding of where you want to be. This is a very dreamlike energy, and I feel like there's something that you're holding very close to your heart that you want right now. And the thing is, sometimes we can just not even let ourselves dream. It's like dreams don't come true, so what's the point? And this is the whole point. That is the point. Once you're dreaming, you have something to aim for, to focus on. It's like, what steps should I take? Well, what do you want? And then it'll help guide you in that direction. And don't worry if you do something it doesn't work out. I think that's kind of the point with dreams, is it's a journey towards a goal, and they're not knowing how to get there is part of the steps. It can be frustrating, but I kind of just get this feel of like this being time for you to start an adventure of ups and downs. Now this is in reverse. Wild watery sea. Yeah, very emotional time. Definitely a time where we are just so kind of chaotic. I feel as though the whole point is not to really know the outcome. It is about just taking steps. And I think it is an initiation into regaining control in your life. I think that we've just released control, especially when we came to the pandemic. It was a time where we our control was taken from us. We weren't allowed to do many things that we wanted to do. And there was a lot of restrictions, so we kind of had to begin to come into a different way of being, and then all of a sudden that's all behind us, and then it's like, how do I exist now? Because who you was before that situation has changed and altered. Obviously the chemistry of who you are is a different ingredients altogether, right? You are not who you were. So how do we work with that? And it's discovering and learning. I do feel like the energy is very much about learning who we are and what we want at core. I think that the distractions all fell away, and we're in this position where it's like you can't be anything but who you are now. And that's kind of scary, because that means people are going to see you for who you really are. And I think that really will work in your favor, but I think that's kind of really hard for you to deal with it sometimes. The Wrath of Love, definitely a passionate time, and definitely a time for that kind of unconditional love. And I feel like you need this in terms of the people who you have around you. You need to be supportive. If they're not supportive of you, then they're hindering you. And the same with, if you are not supporting yourself, why are you not supporting yourself? And I feel like you really need to bring all the passions to the surface, and by following your passions, you are giving yourself one of the biggest acts of self-love. You really following your heart and doing things that you are guided to do based on who you are and your purpose. Again, I do get this sense of wounds being revealed, so I feel like there may be a lot of looking back to the past, looking on what was and what has been, maybe with a longing of simpler times, easier times, and I do feel like that's ahead of us. But when we're stuck in the past and thinking and focusing on the past, you're not really living in this moment and living here. So I kind of feel like you need to be allowing the passions to drive you in a direction and not allowing the past to be keeping you back. Yeah, this card is a destiny. As destiny decreases, I do feel like a little bit of loss and unsure of your purpose and where you're going. I do think there's an intention for this at the moment, but again, this can be really unresting within you. And I think it is a reassessment of where you want to be. I think where you thought you wanted to be, and maybe it's not in alignment now. Maybe you got to where you wanted to be, and it's like, well, now what? Or this is not right for me anymore. And I think that kind of understanding of yourself can help lead you forward. Welcome dread fury. Yep, definitely to me is saying welcome these feelings. It is meant to be driving you somewhere intentionally, and having confidence in who you are. I do think that you need to be dropping and letting go and releasing things that don't serve you anymore. We are coming up into Valentine's, so at the moment a lot of connection based things are coming up, and I do think there are people around us that just are not serving us to our highest potential. Maybe we're giving too much to others. It is a time where the energy is supporting self-growth and self-love, and I think that the time of putting up with certain people doing certain things to us, including those the closest to us, is just leaving. It's like, if people are not willing to just accept and appreciate each other, then like, go, leave. And I feel like that's here. You releasing things that don't deserve, that are not worthy of you. I know that sounds really weird, but that's how this feels, because again, I feel like the self-love needs to be heightened during this time, and it is like, what is worthy of my time, what is worthy of my energy? And I think this is it. I think what's coming into my head, it's like a lot of distractions, a lot of things that again are just preventing you from doing the things that need to be done now in your life, whether it be moving to a new home because where you're stuck, where you are feels like you're stuck. Like stuck just really came through there. It's like feeling as though you can't move forward anymore. What is that blockage? What do you need to release and let go of? I feel like it's time to no longer choose the safe option. It's taking risks for ourselves. We have raging fire of fever, definitely passions, a lot of passion, I feel like we need to be a little bit more harsher with ourselves, letting go of things that don't serve us. And this is bad habits. This is things that, again, were our comfort at a time. We did need this previously, but now we don't need it. Now it's hindering us. Now it's a shield that's blocking our path. And it's not safe in there anymore. It feels as though it's actually more unsafe to stay still than it is to make these potentially, it feels risky, but I don't feel like they're risky, but just having a little bit of risk in your life. Final card, because we're almost ending. The I will love. And again, I want to emphasize the self-love, and I do think needing to let go of someone really comes through in this card. I'll see if you can see it. There's a man here, the mermaid. I've got to speak really quickly because we've got like 20 seconds. It's releasing something, letting go of something that's just not serving you anymore. And it might feel hard, it might feel cold, but you may have to be the leader of your life and say goodbye. Thank you guys for being here, and please follow for future readings.